Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the digital, vigilant, conscientious, but at the same time pretentious man, Angel Santiago, the Puerto Rican prince, and we are here today to watch the latest episode of NWA Power, because what in the hell has the National Wrestling Alliance become in 2025? We shall see. Now, we opened this episode. When I was watching this originally, I genuinely thought that this was like a commercial for like a wellness center, a mental health clinic. I mean, there's like no indication this is for a wrestling company until you finally open up here and you see Mike Mondo on the left. And then we see Natalie Markova, and I can only describe as this gimp mask guy talking to each other, being forced to give each other, I guess, compliments. She looks viscerally uncomfortable throughout this entire thing. He's sniffing himself. She's trying to compliment his shirt. I guess he says thank you. I don't know. I guess he doesn't talk. And then look at this. He sticks his tongue out, and he takes his gum out, and he tries to give it to her. Like, how are we opening a wrestling show with this? And then we go to the Thrillbilly and Brian Idol talking about their match. As you can see, Thrillbilly's got an Idol Sucks Eggs shirt because that's wrestling, I suppose. Idol is standing there just staring at the Thrillbilly, trying to give him some sort of like fake compliment. They're fake complimenting each other back and forth. Is this a wrestling program? And, like, also, where are they? Are they in an automotive shop? Like, I see that there are cars around. You can see that Markova's, like, kind of reacting in the back, but then it seems like everyone else was at, like, lunch tables. I just don't know what the hell this was. We actually land at the four-way tag match that's going to determine who the number 2 contender or number 2 seed for the qualifying match for the Crockett Cup is going to be. You see that we basically have the Gimp Squad once again out here. Apparently this is a gimmick that the NWA loves, because why wouldn't you put a bunch of dudes in masks and make them completely uncharacteristic from one another, as they also emote the entire match, which you're going to see that's a theme that everybody loves to emote in the NWA. Here's one of the actual stars of the NWA, Talos, coming in with an enormous chop, and he's going to follow this up with some other big man maneuvers like a big boot, as he continues to emote to the rest of the audience rather than making the cover. It's like people in the NWA are allergic to actually making pinfalls. As one of the Colognes tags in to get some heat on Talos, he gets shot off the ropes by the masked man, gets kicked in the back from God knows who, and we're back to emoting. Now, I want you to notice what's about to happen here very quickly. Talos makes the worst blind tag in the entire world because the masked guy actually looked at him doing it. Then both masked guys are going up to the top rope to hit a superplex. Talos just bumbled his way into the ring. How did nobody hear that this 7'3" giant is standing behind them, stamping around as his partner is yelling and screaming and pointing? You're going to see a Cologne get his neck absolutely broken. Oh, it's even worse seeing it like the 4th time I've watched this. This is so horrendous. But Kratos, okay, now I will give Kratos all the props. He carried this thing. He was either on some classic NWA white powder here, because he is just slamming everybody around and then hits a move that I don't think I have personally ever seen Kratos or a man his size hit an actual dive to the outside that takes everybody out. But, you know, why focus on the dive when we could have a shadowy figure in the background standing there with no spotlight on him, and Kratos just looking like he's not even going to notice he's there? Now, who's this masked figure? Aaron Stevens. Now, as Aaron Stevens is hobbling his way to the ring, we go to commercial break, because that's a perfect time that we could just cut to black on this one. Now, who's Aaron Stevens out here for? I have no idea. Is he with these Gimp Mask guys? That's what the commentators are telling me. And the commentators, just for anyone who obviously isn't listening to this, because I'm not going to subject you to that, they said it took Aaron Stevens 3 full minutes to get to the ring, which then makes this spot all the more incredible when he takes a little la-di-da bump to the outside and is dead. Because there goes his masked boy. 1, 2, 3 with the tights pulled, because why not let the heel pin the other heel? But just as I find out this is an elimination match, Thor Odinson from Asgard absolutely obliterates Talos' partner. Where is Talos? No idea. 1, 2, 3. And I guess now we're going to have an actual tag match between Thor Odinson, Kratos, and the Colognes. Because why not, at the end of your 4-way elimination match, let's actually start to do a heat spot or something along those lines, as Kratos is rolling down his knee pad to hit a V-trigger. I'm joking. I don't know what that was for. But he gets dropped toe hold into the second ropes, and then gets a big fat cologne nuts to the back of his bald head, because that's incredible. Followed up by another offensive move from the other cologne. I'm not even going to try and distinguish them right now. I could say that I'm Puerto Rican. He goes for the pin. Kratos kicks out at one, because let's just bury everything here. The colognes now are working heat on Kratos. If you told me when you looked at both of these teams that Kratos was going to be taking heat while the colognes were working on him, I wouldn't be able to believe you. As the other cologne now nuts himself on the middle rope, Kratos is waiting for it. He's going for the hot tag. The most bizarre set of hot tag I've ever seen, because it's a 250-pound man trying to get to another 250-pound man. Kratos makes the tag to Thor Odinson, who comes in like a lightning ball with an uppercut, going to the corner, waiting for some more moves, going to hit him with a beautiful suplex now. I'm actually starting to become a fan of these two. I'm really hoping that they get into the Crockett Cup. As you can see, Odinson is using all these strength moves from that white powder that's all over his face that the commentators keep saying is possibly illegal, which I can only imply one thing, I suppose. Vitamins. Now the colognes do like a Royal Rumble exit for Kratos, because apparently Kratos has to take the heat in this whole match, even though he was hitting every spot before. Somehow the cologne found the crutch that Aaron Stevens had and nuts shots Thor Odinson with it, and then hits him with his cousin's backbreaker, which looked like the stiffest backbreaker I've ever seen, because his knees drove right into his back. Now the referee was turned around during this whole endeavor without actually having a lot of contact given to him, and the colognes win. Because yay, Primo and Epico, they're ex-WWE guys. I mean, seriously, we're going to have the two most over people in this entire match, Kratos and Odinson, take the pin over these two. An absolutely incredible display by the NWA Creative to let their two biggest homegrown stars lose to two Federation guys, pretty much. Ugh, I'm starting to get sick of watching this, but we have Damien Federer, Roger Federer, whatever, against Crazy Steve in a singles match that's not for a title opportunity. I've actually never seen these two wrestle for the NWA, but they're gonna wrestle, because Crazy Steve is crazy. Crazy Steve's actually doing some crazy technical work right now. You could tell that he's definitely been, in the gym, because this is the best I think he's ever looked in his entire career, as he's going for what I thought was a camel clutch, but we will see later is apparently his new finisher he's bringing in. Ferrier tries to bring out some punches as Crazy Steve bites him in the ACL, which gets his face paint all over that leg without actually any blood, which I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever. Crazy Steve now looks like a technical wizard compared to Federer. That's what I'm going to call him now. As Federer gets him up for a big, long pause suplex on Crazy Steve, getting all the blood to rush to his head, dropping him down to the center of the ring, going for an extremely cocky pin, but nothing to come of it. Crazy Steve now back on offense, once again working like a technical wizard. It looks like Crazy Steve is more like crazy Zack Sabre Jr. with all these technical moves he's hitting, but I'm for it. And now hitting him with the draping choke across the ropes. Federer is absolutely being destroyed by Crazy Steve right now. I think this is just a glorified squash match to get Crazy Steve to do something possibly with the television title. Who knows, though? As Federer goes for a splash in the corner, completely misses. Crazy Steve now looks like he keeps setting up whatever that finishing maneuver is. Even the commentators didn't know it. He hooks his mouth. And look at this. I want everyone to pay attention here. He's hooking him by his cheeks, and they ring the bell. No tap. No tap. He passed out from a grown man's fingers in his mouth. I don't even. Regardless, we're going to move on to this segment. I'm not going to even take you through it. I'm not even going to watch it. It looks like the KFC guys with the Thrillbilly. I don't need to know anything about this. I don't need to know anything about who Joe Costanza is. I don't want to know. I don't need to know any of the KFC chicken he's selling, or why his 3 or 2 or 1 legitimate son there is with him, on what looks to try and be the Daily Show. Let's move on, please. Oh, I'm just so glad that these segments are over because we got Wrecking Ball Legursky out here. A legitimate big man, a legitimate wrestler, America's champion against Mims, who is now a heel as the national heavyweight champion with a manager who I have never heard of, never seen, and I don't think it provides much to Mims' character, but I like Mims and I like Wrecking Ball, so we're going to see what they get out here with. I am just hoping that it's actually for the title and that Billy Corgan hasn't worked me into believing that. Wrecking Ball looks way too fired up for this not to be a championship match, so I'm godforsakenly hoping that this bell is raised as it is. Thank you to the Lord. We actually get something on this NWA program for a belt, for some stakes. We get Wrecking Ball Legursky versus Mims. They start out with a collar and elbow, a deep one, as Wrecking Ball tosses Mims to the ground, celebrating as he usually does, whipping around his headband. They get into another deep collar and elbow that pushes Mims off. Now they're going back to the collar and elbow, pushing each other in the corner. This is a solid big man match with some huge shoulder tackles from Wrecking Ball. He is celebrating up a storm. It looks like Kratos gave him some of that white powder that his teammate was using. Wrecking Ball doing his signature punches. Oh, told everyone to hold on, winding it up again, and lands a big one on Mims' skull, knocking him to the ground. Mims doing some good selling as Wrecking Ball picks him up with one arm to send him to the mat. This is what I love. Big man wrestling, classic characters. I did not want to see this manager get involved to the extent that he does this entire match. It makes Mims look stupid. It makes him look weak. Even as he hit Wrecking Ball out of the ring, Wrecking Ball landed on his feet, and it wasn't like Mims was going to do a dive. I mean, what are we doing here? Now he has to focus on a 2-on-1, and Mims and him should just be working a normal match. As Wrecking Ball pulls him out of the ring, Mims goes for that signature right hand. Wrecking Ball gets him up, but once again, the manager is pulling Mims off. Now what you're about to see is possibly one of the funniest things in this whole episode. It takes them all around the ring for Mims to finally find the stairs to throw Wrecking Ball into so that he could start his heat segment. And then they cut to commercial. They cut to commercial as Mims was getting all of his heat, and all we got to see were these stomps and these forearms to the chest to Wrecking Ball. Mims basically, virtually, got no offense in this entire match on his own, and it was only through his manager's help that he did. Regardless, Wrecking Ball's a wrecking ball of a man, to say the least, as Mims was able to escape out of that fireman's carry, digging into the eyes, as the referee's doing a phenomenal job doing her job. She's not. Mims now celebrating after doing all this cheating. Wrecking Ball hits him with the cane choke now, trying to get him up for something. Mims hits him in the knee and hits him with a snap DDT. This is what I wanted to see. Mims working a classic heel role without needing his manager's help throughout the entire thing. It's not like the ending is going to be like this, right? Now Wrecking Ball's trying to fire up, hitting his Hulk up sequence now. He's getting ready for Mims to continue hitting him with all those strikes. Mims no-sells the headbutt, and Wrecking Ball's back, hitting his comeback, hitting some big left hands on Mims, knocking him to the ground. Wrecking Ball goes to shoot him off into the corner and comes back at him with a big old stinger splash from the big man. A big toss to Mims. Wrecking Ball is moving, and again, the manager's on the ropes. Why? It doesn't make any sense. And then someone out of nowhere, you couldn't even see that barely on the screen, hits him. Mims hits a right hand, and the 3 count. This match wasn't even over 10 minutes on this 43-minute episode. I got more of the KFC guy than I actually did Mims and Wrecking Ball Legursky. This was the one match I wanted to watch on this whole program. The one championship match. There was constant manager interference. They cut all of Mims' offense out in the commercial break, which was just a commercial for the NWA, and not even the manager was a contribution to the ending, because this random dude, who I have no idea just took off this mask, hit him with apparently a chain, because I couldn't even see the chain when he hit him. I guess the commentators were saying that this was his former tag partner. I have no idea who this jabroni is, because he's about to hit the most phony, fake, disgusting chain punches I've ever seen on an individual before. Thank God he started whipping him with the chain, but it looked like he was actually snapping it on him. This episode of the NWA is everything I dislike about wrestling, ruining my actually good, talented matches with talented wrestlers for bullshit interference, for weird storylines that I don't even know where this is going. Who knows if this guy with the chain is, now that's what I'm going to call him, guy with a chain, is going to be back on NWA Power. What is going on in the NWA? I have absolutely, positively no idea.